Hello and welcome to the Parenting Tools Podcast. My name is Jason.
My name is Jordan, and this is a podcast where myself and Jason have a little chat about parent life.
Jordan, how you doing? I think you're a little bit ill.
Bit under the weather, as people would say, as they would say. Had a cold last week. Still.
Is that why they say it's under the weather? Because the words are related to the weather.
Maybe. I don't know, but last year, do you know on the TikTok algorithm?
Yeah.
I started to watch videos of where sayings came from. And I bet there's someone somewhere that knows where.
What is your algorithm like now, today?
It's basketball heavy.
Really?
Yeah.
Because this is I know we are straight into the podcast. I know this is about parenting, but my algorithms are insane.
I said this to you the other day, so this is nothing that I haven't said to you.
Yeah.
Face to face. Your algorithm thinks you're a weirdo.
Because I am.
Some of the stuff you sent, but it's always people singing or dancing.
There's always people that can't sing or can't dance. I have been cornered into this section of the algorithm.
It's wild.
On every platform. And I set out originally, like a couple of years ago, to make my algorithms like child friendly. For some reason, because some of the stuff you get on there is atrocious.
Yep.
But some of the stuff I get now is like, and I watch it. And then halfway through I go, why am I watching this? This is why it keeps feeding me the same stuff.
Yeah.
Because it is really bad.
You're not allowed to be curious anymore. So if a video comes on and you're like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
And you watch it, even if it's something maybe like, say, political or like a lot of weird podcasts that come up and you think, oh, I'll see what they've got to say. Then you just get spammed with it.
You'll get that continually.
So there's now, I feel like this is a bit of a deeper topic. I feel like you can't be curious when something pops up in front of you. You can't go, let's give this 15 seconds and see what it's about, because that's all you'll see.
That you are then locked in to the terrible songs where people are trying to create a music career. And the thing is, they get loads of shares, loads of likes, because it's funny, but they don't understand it's funny.
It's bad to laugh.
Difficult.
Sometimes.
It's so difficult. Anyway, I don't know where that's come from. Anyway, I'm upset with the current state of social media.
Okay. Yeah, this is related to me having a cold.
Yeah. I do worry though, like what it's going to be like by the time my daughter uses social media, like 10 years at least. I'm just not having a phone until she's like 30.
There's a big thing at the minute, isn't there, doing the rounds about should there just be a blanket social media ban until 16 years old? Should you have to verify your age with ID and stuff?
Yeah.
Where do you stand on that?
And there's also, is it the ban of phones in schools as well? Is that part of the same topic?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, but yeah.
No, but yeah. But
it's phones.
When I think back to when I was a teenager, we had MSN.
Glory days.
And then MySpace or Pixo. Do you remember that?
Pixo. I do remember Pixo.
Like make your own website.
Bebo was another one.
Bebo.
Yep.
Habbo Hotel.
MySpace.
But all those interactions were limited to the time that you were allowed to go on the computer, which for some people it was a few hours after school. Some it wasn't a lot at all. But as soon as you finish, you can't access MSN. You can't.
Ours was an hour because we got a free hour of broadband.
Remember the dial-up days? But like you were so limited to that amount of social time. So whereas now it's constant. I'm all in favour of blanket ban under 14. Like
14.
I don't know. I just picked an
Picked an age.
Yeah. I'm all up for it. But then again, it's difficult because my daughter's only 4. And I can't imagine wanting to throw her into the world of social media when she's a young teenager.
Yeah. I actually got a text off the BBC yesterday.
You did, yeah.
Which, it's one of those you think, oh, it's an unknown number, like, who's this? It's the BBC. Asking me to come on and talk about the whole, like, phone ban at school. And I just said our kids are too young, really, for me to have an informed opinion on it. But, yeah, I do think, like you said, we've dived right into it today. Yeah, I'd just blanket ban it. Because when you were talking about MSN and MySpace and stuff, you were very limited with what you could do.
Yep.
At the time, we thought it was obviously incredible.
Yeah. But you could chat, you could nudge.
Yeah.
That was it.
And it wasn't designed to keep your attention. It wasn't designed to invade your curiosity. It was just like you chatting with your mates. And there were loads of times I remember just being bored of it and going, right, I'm going to go outside now.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's designed to keep you there for as long as it can.
Yeah.
And I don't think a young adolescent brain can I can't deal with it, so never mind.
Yeah, and who were we talking to? As a guest, they were talking about like curating your algorithm.
Mr. P.
Mr. P.
That was a year ago.
Yeah, but from a teacher's perspective of like heavily curating his children's algorithms. But again, that even doesn't feel far enough because you're not in control. They're also not in control. And you're not in control of what other people can send them, which is part of the danger. But it all just feels... If I could just put a blanket ban on and just force kids just go have other human interactions, I think that would probably be better.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff that's kicking off about like adolescence and all of that sort of stuff, that is because kids have been thrown into a world of completely unregulated social media use and social interactions, and parents just don't have a clue.
Yeah.
There are some that do, but the majority don't. And it's like, I spent a long time working with teenagers, and like you just look at like screen times like in a youth group, and like it would not be uncommon for it to be at least like 12 hours a day, 12, 14 hours of just like complete social media use, interaction, Snapchat groups. The majority of time, they're not just chatting to people that they're just close friends with. And it's like, that is insane. Like, of course, there'll be damaging effects of that. Like, there's damaging effects to my doom scrolling. Last night, I could have went to bed at 8 p.m. What time did I go to bed? Midnight.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
But for the last hour and a half, I was just like, just distracting myself.
It's very easily done. It's very easily done.
And it's really bad. And I just don't want to pass that habit on.
I was talking to a friend of mine recently about this who's got teenagers. So like very different stage of parenting to where we are with a 5 and a 3-year-old. And I said to him, like, where obviously they've got screen time and they've got a lot more of it, but parents are still able to say no. So does it all come back down to the whole like thing of parents have to work, both parents have to work. So therefore it's quite a lot of the time is look, just sit in there, do what you want. And they can't go outside anymore because we know it's not safe. Because me and him, we were saying that like he sort of grew up in the 80s, I grew up in the 90s. We just went outside and our parents didn't have a clue what we were doing. And now as a parent, I think, gosh, that worries me.
Yeah.
But also, I'm fine. But would I rather than be sat at home on a device or playing outside and me not knowing what they're up to? It's a bit,
yeah, and then it's the other side of you don't know what they're up to if they're at home on their devices.
Yeah.
So it's both. And I don't.
No, that's a great point.
And we're not having to contend with like teenage emotions and FOMO and all of that. And it's easy for me to say, like, just teach them that actually missing out is sometimes all right. I'm not on the other end of like tantrums and falling outs with teenagers. But it's that thing of, I think there is a shift of people kind of going, this probably isn't the best thing.
Yeah.
And I think most people just fall into it because it's like your kids need a phone so you can find out where they are. I think that's probably where it happens, where it starts. They need a phone. I need to be able to call them, contact them. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And almost like through the back door, all of this other stuff has come through. And it's like, I don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. Like, we can be informed, but not actually have a informed opinion for our actual kids until we're bumping up against some of that stuff.
Yeah. I try not to worry about it. Well, I don't worry about it, but I think part of that is because it's a long way away. And like you said, it's going to change so much. If I start to stress about what I'm going to do with my phone strategy for my kids in 10 years' time, it's going to be completely out the window anyway.
Me and Em have had conversations about like phones and devices and stuff already, mainly because it's like, at some point the questions are going to come, and like we both want to have, again, not just be a reactionary, oh, when are we going to like get our phone? It's we kind of agree as late as possible.
Yeah.
But again, it's not the granular detail of, like I said, a dumb phone or all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Until we're there.
Yeah. I got a phone quite young. I was 11. Bearing in mind that phones weren't really...
I had a Nokia 3310.
3310, yeah, that's what I had. My nan was very generous and like was a proper nan in the fact that you'd go out and she'd go, what do you want for food? And you're like, have a sandwich? She'll go, McDonald's? You go, oh yeah, go on then, have a McDonald's. And she'll go, what do you want? And you go, can I have a Happy Meal? She'll go, do you want a Big Mac? It was always like she just wanted to give you... and we went shopping one day to Tesco and she spent £100 on her shop and you could get a phone for £30 off. Yeah. And she just went, do you want a phone? To an 11-year-old. And I was like, yeah, she just bought me this phone. I don't think my mum knew about it. But you couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I had 5 contacts, I think. Mum, Dad, home. Home was one. Home phone.
You could play Snake, Space Invaders, Space Impact, whatever it was.
Yeah, and that was all you could
do. You couldn't even text or call that much because credit.
No,
it costs so much to send.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend about this recently because you only had a certain amount of characters on a text. And texts were 10p. If you went over that character, it was 20p.
Yeah.
But we all used to write TB at the end for text back. Why not just save the characters and assume that if you ask someone a question, they're going to answer you? You had to save 2 characters at the end for TB.
I don't remember that.
Do you not remember that?
I didn't text anyone.
Listeners, get in touch. Am I the only one that used to put TB?
But like that whole like 10-year, I don't even know if it's 10 years, like 8-year gap of phone development where it went from like the Nokia 3310 to remember the Sony Ericssons, the Walkmans?
Yeah.
And like it kind of had colour, but it kind of didn't. And it kind of had internet, but it didn't really.
WAP.
Yeah. And it was like all of that. Like that's a completely different experience to handing a teenager like an iPhone.
A laptop that fits in your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which on some things is incredible. Like if you want to learn about anything, you can. Do we learn about most things?
Nope.
No.
Well, talking about handing your kids some technology, I've got a bit of a fail. So on a Saturday, we let our kids go downstairs and watch TV. So they go downstairs, they know how to turn it on now. We have a little bit of a lie-in. Talking about maybe half an hour. It's great.
Ideal.
We watch all our TV through our Xbox. Got all the apps on there. You know, you haven't got to pay for a certain box, that box. It's all on the Xbox. I get an email from Microsoft.
No.
Saying your Microsoft order, the order number, has been processed. I was thinking, oh no, I'm being hacked. Open the email. Thank you for shopping with us. And then the order details. The Sonic Ultimate Bundle. £65. I'm thinking, who has bought the Ultimate Sonic Bundle?
They've hacked you just to buy Sonic.
And then I had a thought. My 5-year-old likes Sonic.
Is it a game or is it a movie?
It's an Ultimate Bundle. That's what it is. I think it's the games. So I went downstairs. I said, Luke, have you tried to play Sonic today? You went, yeah. I said, well, you bought it. You went, yeah, I know. So matter of fact about it. I said, do you know how much it was? He went, no. I said, that's £65. And then he looked at me and went, I'll just pay it with the money in my money box.
How minted is this kid?
So I asked him, how much money do you have in your money box? He was like, 1,000,000. For the listeners, he does not have 1,000,000 money in his money box.
Junior Jeff Bezos over there.
And I would not be sat here if he did. So that made me laugh. And I got a refund. Yeah. You have to put in a reason.
I was sleeping when my 5-year-old bought it.
I put my 5-year-old bought this without me knowing. And then I thought, I look like a terrible parent. So I went on my Microsoft thinking, there's surely, if you want to buy something, you have to enter a password.
Yeah.
Nope. You could just buy it.
You can add a passcode.
Well, I thought it was on. I thought that was just a given. And Leanne said to me, like, why haven't you got... I haven't bought anything on there for like 3 years. I think maybe since lockdown. So I don't know. But that was a rude awakening on a Saturday morning. But they gave me the money back within minutes, to be fair. So shout out to Microsoft.
Ooh, if that was Sony, whew, not so easy.
So yeah, more for me.
That's brilliant.
So we've got an opening question. Let's dive into opening questions from Peter.
Right at the opening?
Right at the opening, yeah, 15 minutes in. Peter said this. Did you play any April Fools on your children, or did they manage to get you?
I'll let you go because my answer is no. I forgot about it.
You forgot about it?
Yep.
Oh, see, I like April Fool's Day. My granddad died on April Fool's Day, and he was a very funny man. So people were like, "Oh, it's very typical John, isn't it?" Sort of thing. So yeah, always remember April Fool's Day because of that. But I got out the shower, and my phone was sat on the side where it normally is. And Luca went, "Daddy, someone's moved your phone." And I'm looking at it, and I went, "No, they haven't." He went, "April Fools." I was a bit ashamed of him. I was like, "Come on, we can do better than that." That was a bit harsh. But yeah, and I didn't have my glasses on, but I could still see that it was there.
Did you play a trick on them?
So I did. So I then went to the curtains, opened the curtains, and I went, oh, "No way, it snowed!" And they both jumped up. They're like, "It's snowing!" And I went, "April Fools." Luca, big smile on his face, like got it straight away. Mila's going, "Where's the snow?" Oh. Felt really sorry for her.
Just dashed her dreams.
Yeah. So did a little April Fools. It was quite nice. They were aware of it, what was going on. So yeah, we had a little, oh, there's something on your face. April Fools, like all day.
I think I was at work that day.
I don't like the corporate ones that people do. Don't like the corporate jokes you see. I saw like some celebrities saying, "Oh, we're going to be on Emmerdale."
I find them really cringe.
Yeah, I'm not keen for them.
And it started off that ChatGPT toy package trend.
I've seen this.
I thought the first few, that's funny.
That's funny.
No, I don't need. No offense to anyone who's done it. I don't need to see all of them.
Yeah. Have you done one and not posted it?
No,
I've not done one.
Or even if I had done one now, I wouldn't tell you because I've just dissed it.
So yeah, no, we did a couple of April Fools, but
I went to London for work and I was there a little bit early, and I started to panic that it was an April Fool's, that it was a conference in London. Like I'd spent 3 hours on the train. I know it wouldn't be because we're paying for it, but there was a moment where I was like, Is this a joke? Have I just travelled all this way and they're going to go, April Fool's? No, it wasn't. It was indeed a conference.
What a shame. Yeah. What would have been worse?
To be fair, you have a morning in London.
Yeah, I saw a guitar company. So there's this guitar pedal called the Big Sky.
Big Sky.
It's a reverb pedal that all Christian guitarists have. And a company released a version of that for churches called Holy Sky on April Fool's morning. I thought it was quite good. I did enjoy that. Anyway, moving on. Thanks, Peter, for the question. We've had a message from long-time listener and contributor Mar, who said this. And he sent in a picture. "Fun picture for you. My daughter was meant to be napping. Safe to say, she didn't nap." Now, we'll stick, if you watch it on YouTube, Mara said we're allowed to stick it on. We'll stick it on. But this is the picture of Mar's daughter having a nap.
So if you're just listening, she has...
It's one of those, the more things you look at.
So in her bedroom, she's emptied out all her drawers all over the floor. And somehow, I mean, that's impressive.
It's impressive.
She's managed to climb into the top drawer.
The top drawer. Is it 3 or 2?
3. But the bottom one's closed. How has she done that?
She leapt in.
That is genius.
It's amazing. Visual chaos. Absolute carnage. So, yeah, it's one of those. I looked at it and thought, wow. And then I looked around. I was like, whoa. And then I saw her in the drawers. I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I saw that she's in the top drawer.
It just gets funnier every time.
Yeah.
That is quite a frequent occurrence. Not no hiding in the top drawer, but just deciding to empty out all her drawers in search of something.
Some visual chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit overstimulated on a Saturday morning.
I said this to someone recently. I'm looking forward to having a toddler again.
Are you?
Yeah. And I know it's like the proper mental phase, but just they're so funny.
Is that what was your favourite phase?
I think like when they've just started to learn to walk,
Yeah.
when they're just starting to say words that only really you can understand. But it was a toddler at school pickup. I want to say just under 2 years old. And their mum had given them a biscuit that they'd asked for, and then they cried because their mum had given them the biscuit that they asked for. And I just thought, I can't wait for that. I think that's so funny. I think it's such a funny stage.
Everything is just so uncomplicated, but also complicated.
Yeah, they ask for a banana, and then you give it to them with your right hand, and they go, I didn't want it with that hand.
Or you open it. I wanted to open it.
Yeah, you give them another one. Not that one. Like I think the toddler age it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
It is really fun.
So yeah, thank you, Ma, for that picture.
John, something happened last week that I was morally torn.
Ooh.
Or I'm going to say this slightly quieter because Noah is still knocking about somewhere here because half term.
Easter holidays, by the way. Oof.
Yeah, so I picked her up from school the other week, and all the other kids come out normally, and my child bounds out with a stick.
Okay.
The size of her. It's a little bamboo garden stick, you know, the ones that hold up.
Yeah.
She's just like flailing it about. Teachers have let her do it. And I was like, what's this? She's like, I found it in the playground. And I asked if I could take it home. It's like, okay.
Teacher has shafted you then.
Got a stick. Let me just make sure I don't hit anyone as we get out. Anyway, we went on a little toy trip and Starbucks trip afterwards, after school. It was lovely. The stick came everywhere. Couldn't leave it in the car. So I went to Starbucks, had a nice little, she had a baby chino. And I had a normal chino.
I thought of really small trousers when you said baby chino.
Baby chinos?
That was my first thought.
Chinos coming back round?
I love chinos.
Will they come back? Have they gone anywhere? Are they still here?
I don't know, but I wear black chinos all the time instead of jeans.
Yeah. Black chinos, that's like sort of cheating, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, back to the story. So, had a lovely time at Starbucks. And we went to another shop after that. And then when we got back in the car, Noah was like, I've lost my stick.
Oh, no.
And oh, no, we've left it at Starbucks.
Oh, what a shame.
And she started to melt down.
Oh, no.
Screaming, crying, so distraught. And then I said, oh, no, you've left it in Starbucks. And then she went, I've lost my stick and I've lost Mimi. Mimi was a doll she lost a few months ago on the bus.
Oh, gosh.
So now she's developing this sense of identity around losing things that she loves. Just don't worry, we'll go back to Starbucks. I'll find it. Starbucks was shut.
You went back for a stick?
Mate.
You're a better man than me.
The tears were unbelievable, like inconsolable. And I tried for 10 minutes.
There are other sticks in the world.
There are. She doesn't want other sticks. She wants that one. So I went to Starbucks. It was shut, but there were still people in there. So I managed to speak to someone.
No way.
They'd thrown it away.
Of course.
Obviously in a bin covered in coffee. I'm not going to go get that out of the bin. So I went back in the car. I said, look, it's in lost property, but I can't get it till tomorrow.
Hoping she'd forget.
Yeah. She did. She cried all the way home because she couldn't have it now.
Yeah.
Well, this is a 20-minute drive. She cried the entire way home. And then when Em dropped her off at the school, she said, make sure Daddy doesn't forget to get my stick. So I had to go and buy.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Mate, you are soft as grease.
Yeah, I am. So the only place I could find this bamboo stick, B&Q didn't have them, they were sold out. Homebase didn't have them, they were sold out. Was Dobby's.
Oh, yeah?
And I had to buy 50 of them. Cost me £8. I've got 49 in my boot.
What on earth?
Yeah, and that one stick lasted 2 days. Then she forgot about it.
Mate.
I'm a sap. Yeah.
I want to revisit the conversation with the people in Starbucks when you went and asked them.
I said, I know this is really random, but my daughter left her stick. And she said, and they went, yeah, we threw it in the bin.
Oh, so were they like cool with it? Were they not like, oh, you're a sap?
No, they just went, yeah, we threw it in the bin.
We know the stick, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I suspected so. And then just turned around and went left.
Oh,
but I lied to her, said it was the same stick.
Never be going back to that Starbucks again.
The reason the stick was so important is because she was playing with her friends with it in the playground.
Sentimental.
And there were certain characteristics that stick had that she remembered that the new stick didn't have.
Oh my word.
So I lied to her.
Yep.
And I try not to lie to my daughter ever. I crumbled.
Yeah.
I told her I fixed it and I cleaned it.
And now you've got 49.
I'm not proud.
What are you going to do with them?
Just hide them forever. Take it to my grave.
You should go around to like kids having tantrums on parks. Do you want a stick?
But it would work.
Yeah, it would work. Would work.
Would.
But, oh my word, mate.
Yeah.
See, I would just go, get a grip.
Yeah.
It's a stick.
It was a difficult moment. I wanted to be loved, and I think that's maybe the downfall. I wanted just to give my daughter everything.
Oh, that's fun, mate. That is funny. My face hurts. My face really hurts from watching that. Dear me, the lost stick. You should write that into a book.
Yeah, but it's more the moral dilemma of actually lying. And like if a pet dies and say, oh, they've gone to the farm or something. Not that I've used that one yet.
I remember when we spoke to Alistair Bryce Clegg.
Yep.
He talked about lying.
Yep.
And he was going, yeah, we all lie to our kids. And me and you were like, no, we do not.
The difference is we had tiny children then.
Yeah, well, yeah. But now you hear yourself say little things like the TV's gone to bed, or the TV's having a rest.
Yeah.
Little things like that. Oh, it doesn't
Absolute
work.
Liar.
Yeah, it doesn't work now. Maybe the batteries have run out. Stuff like that, and you think, I'm just telling lies. So I try hard not to, and I think now I don't. But ever since that conversation, realizing you do.
I think it's when you realise that you don't really have much to stand on when they question you. I'm very fickle.
Couldn't be a politician.
Yeah. But why? It's a good question. You can't say that to a 4-year-old, but you're right. You can have more TV. I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, no, it's gone to bed. TV's gone to sleep. Yeah, no, I try not to.
No, yeah. In hindsight, would have been easier just to say that's the end of the stick.
I saw a parenting hack recently, but when you think about it, it's just a lie. A woman told her daughter that when you lie, your nose turns green a little bit. So what her daughter has now started to do is cover her nose.
No.
When she's lying.
Wow.
Genius, but also not true. She just lied. So you can imagine her daughter just going, yeah, I've brushed my teeth. Yeah, I've done a wee.
I mean, it's a great tell.
Yeah, really. But
not set up to be a good poker player, though, is she?
Imagine. Just loses millions.
Got pocket aces.
I raise. So this week, my daughter, or was it the last week? Doesn't matter. Recently, she made a discovery that we all make at some point. She was in the kitchen eating her cereal.
Yeah.
And she went, look, Daddy. She lifted up her spoon. She went, I'm upside down. And then she span it round. I'm normal. And she sat there, just twizzling, upside down, normal. And she was amazed. And I know we all know about this. Still don't understand how it works.
Well, to be honest, I forgot about it until you mentioned it.
But it's little things like that I'm now really enjoying.
Yeah, like the little discovery.
Little things that they're discovering.
I could
Just
be-
about life.
When you mentioned the spoon, I immediately thought of Matrix. When that kid bends the spoon.
There is no spoon.
Yeah.
Watched that recently.
Really?
It's aged very well, by the way.
But yeah, it is that, like, the discovery phase is incredible. Like, again, like Noah was talking about, like the moon and like learning about crescent moons and like the different phases of the moon. I found it fascinating. I was like, this is amazing.
Oh, you were telling me
Yeah.
you're into space now.
I'm now really a big fan of space because Noah's a big fan of space. And like, I realized, I really like space.
Space is cool.
Yeah. So much so, I'm going to get a telescope for my birthday.
Really?
I've gone
Like a legit one?
I've gone deep. There is a deep rabbit hole of telescopic lovers. And so this is so sad. I found myself reading a Reddit post about the beginner's guide to telescopes. And the first paragraph was like, make sure you set your expectations correctly. So you're not going to see like galaxies.
So what are your expectations?
Very low. Just want to see the moon.
Just want to see. Just look outside. you can see it.
I want to see it closer.
Yeah. Well, no, that is cool. I said this a few weeks ago on an episode. I really enjoyed the planet alignment.
Yeah, very cool.
And now there's been a few times now we've got sort of clear skies because the weather in the UK at the minute
It's gorgeous.
is wonderful, but cold overnight.
Yeah.
Because there's no clouds. So you get a really good view of the stars and stuff.
Yeah,
There's
it's
been a
been
couple of times
lovely.
recently I've looked up and been like, Mars? I know. So I really enjoyed that. I'm not like sort of buying a telescope.
I mean, I don't.
Territory.
I'm not like no. I don't know all the names of the stars. I just like looking at them. I just think I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Slightly terrifying, but also fascinating.
Yeah, there was a few years ago, there was I think it was a comet or a satellite that was going by quite closely and you could see it. That was quite cool.
Look, we see Elon Musk's Starlinks.
Yeah, just a flying Tesla. Elon's... do
Oh.
you want to go there? Nope.
I feel like this is too thick of waters for us to trod,
Yeah.
to wade through. I don't think we
Walking
do.
through custard. My little girl smashed my phone screen.
That's a better segue.
Yeah, that happened. So we had a day to ourselves. Leanne was in London and I took Mila to watch Lucas football.
Nice.
And normally she's got a little friend there. Little friend wasn't there. So Mila was climbing up the fence, took a seat for her to sit on. And I never give my kids a phone to keep them still and keep them quiet. If they ask me, can I have a go? Sometimes I'll say, well, if you've done this, you've done that. Yeah, you can. But I never just go, here you go, sit still. I did it this day. I was trying to watch Lucas football and he shouts across, like, Daddy, did you see that? And he scored a goal. He doesn't score many. So like I saw his goal and I was like, yep. Milo was like, I just thought, I need you to not hurt yourself here. So I sat her down and I said, do you want to watch something on Daddy's phone? She said, yes. Luca they were split off into two pitches. He was on the other pitch, like the far away pitch.
Yeah.
She was trying to show him what she was watching and dropped my phone.
That's cute.
And smashed the screen. And I just thought, the one time I do it to keep you still,
Yeah.
it's broken.
Is it still smashed now?
It is smashed. It's at the top. So it doesn't really affect, you can still see things, but because it's a fairly new phone, I've got the Google Pixel 9, which by the way is wonderful. Recommend to all the parents out there. The features, camera features.
It's not sponsored, but
This isn't sponsored.
if you want to Google,
There's a thing called Best Take. You take 3 pictures,
Yeah.
someone blinks or someone looks away, you can swap their face out. It's not like AI sort of, it doesn't create a face, it just takes a different picture that you've taken. It's amazing. So good with the kids because no one's ever looking at the same time. It's brilliant. Recommend. But because it's a fairly new phone, looking at about £200 to fix the screen.
yeah, I smashed the back of my iPhone within the first week. I say Noah dropped it in the bathroom. It's my fault.
Yeah.
Not
What's
hers.
it in it? It's my fault. I couldn't be annoyed.
Yeah, £200.
Yeah.
No, I just put a case on it now. Live with it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get it. I'm about 3 months into a 2-year contract. But yeah, more for me.
Yeah, there you go. That'll teach you.
Yeah. The alternative is let her fall. Or take toys and activities for her to play.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
put a case on your phone.
Give her a VR.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Just walking around with a VR on.
Did I tell you that I let Noah use my VR on some things?
No.
So you can get Bluey in VR,
Whoa.
as in Bluey's house,
Yeah.
and you can walk around the whole house.
With is Bluey there?
They're there in the garden, just as static.
Yeah, they're ignoring you,
Yeah,
not hosting.
but you can go around the whole house, and it's like accurate to the TV shows.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, and like I can like basically control what she's doing on my phone while she's got it on her headset. So she just sat there like, I mean, she tried to run around the house and nearly ran to the wall, but
That's cool.
absolutely loved it. We went into
Is that
it
an
like a
app?
few times. It's on like the Quest thing.
The Quest.
There you go for the very technical things. Basically, there's an app where people can create their own worlds, and someone's created Bluey,
Oh wow.
and it's just really cool.
Have you created any worlds?
No.
If you were to go, question for you then.
Oh.
If you were to go round a TV or movie house in VR or reality, what would you go? What would you go around?
Don't know. I'm not that bothered about going around houses.
Home Alone.
Really?
I'd go around the Home Alone house.
Like once it's already booby trapped.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. See if you can get through. Hey, that could be like an
game.
escape room.
There we go. £1 million idea.
Yeah, get through the Home Alone house without
Trademarked.
burning your hair off. Having an iron fall on your face. Yeah, I'll go through the Home Alone house, I think.
I'm really boring. There's one that I go on, which is space.
Just
just in space.
just floating.
You're on a spaceship. There's loads of stars everywhere. It's really cool.
Just floating around in space.
And then you can put John Wick 3 on in a virtual cinema.
Did I ever tell you about the time I tried VR?
No.
So I went to this like networking business thing, and this guy was there with VR.
Yeah.
This was about 6 years ago, so it was fairly new out. And it was like a high-rise building, and you walk across this plank.
Yeah. Plank walk.
Yeah,
There you
so
go.
the plank's on the floor in real life, and he, gets you to go on the plank. And you go up in a loft on the VR thing. Lift, sorry, not a loft. You go up in a lift, and it takes you to the top story, and then you walk across this bridge where there's no sides.
Yeah.
So as I'm walking across this plank in real life, about an inch from the floor, I'm thinking, this isn't real. You're not high up. And I think I'd got a pretty certain grasp of reality. So I just walked across this plank. The guy pushed me. So I obviously go to steady myself. Obviously he's doing it as a bit of a, he gave me a little push, and I'm like, oh, don't want to fall over in real life. And I get to the end, I take the headset off, and he went, got you there, didn't I? He said, you finding your balance? I was like, yes. The only way that he doesn't get the desired outcome of you thought you were going to fall is if you fall.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, that didn't work.
face plant.
Yeah.
That would hurt.
Now, you're not getting me, mate. I know that this is on the ground. I'm rolling. It was one of those interactions where I just thought, that was so weird. You pushed me. I tried not to fall. And you were like, "Oi."
That makes me feel awkward.
Yeah, it was and I'm not an awkward person. And I know what he was trying to do. I get that, you'd get some really good reactions. Maybe some people scream. But you're an inch off the ground. Even if I was on the ground, I still wouldn't want to fall over.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, I don't want to fall over.
Yeah, that's it. I just don't want to fall. Regardless.
I think I love VR. I'm a nerd. But I think it's like 3D TVs.
Yeah.
When they were a massive thing.
That phase
Yeah,
came and went.
phase came and went.
Yeah, came and went. Apologies for the cough, by the way.
There you go.
I did have a lozenge on the way here, which reminded me, I saw recently the guy that invented Strepsils recently died.
Really?
Mm.
Well,
There was no coffin at his funeral.
I was suspicious when you told that story.
But no, I do apologise for the coughing.
Oh, well, thanks for listening. There'll be no episode next week because it's Easter. But if you listen to this in the future, then there probably might be another episode. See you in a bit.
Time is relative. See you in a bit.